But what is the real threat to America? Is it really this phony shutdown, which isn't a shutdown at all? It's really just a slowdown. We do have a debt crisis looming that is coming up on the 17th. So we're only about 2 weeks away from a debt crisis. That's the point at which they're estimating we will run out of credit. Now, the IMF head is saying that's the real crisis. That's what we really need to worry about. Of course, the bankers always want us to get farther and farther into debt. It's the same thing they do to you on a personal basis. If you're a college graduate, they immediately start sending you credit cards so they can start charging you 20, 30, 40% interest if you get behind. They do that to homeowners with the mortgages, and they do it to countries. They've had us on an interest-only loan for over 100 years, coming up to 100 years now with the Federal Reserve and the income tax. The income tax only pays the interest on the federal debt, as the Reagan Grace Commission pointed out. So they want us to get indebted to them, and of course the IMF head is saying we need to go further into that. But on InfoWars today, we carried a story from Paul Craig Roberts, and he pointed out what the real crisis is. Just like an individual, the real crisis is the fact that we've lost our income. Why have we lost our income? We've lost our income because we have shifted jobs overseas. We've lost tax revenues. We've lost the income associated with those jobs. And of course, as an individual, if you lose your job, you're going to eventually have a debt crisis. And that's what we see happening with our country as well. Those American jobs have been shipped overseas, and unfortunately, they're not coming back. And things like Obamacare are not creating jobs. What they're doing is they're shutting down jobs. I know many people who are friends of mine who have small businesses, they're shutting down. We see doctors who are shutting down because they can't handle the bureaucracy with this. And we see people that are now being put into part-time jobs because that's the one way that their employers can try to cope with the added costs. And yet, even with all of that, you're seeing your health care costs go up, your insurance costs doubling. This is something that is strangling the economy. And yet, and nobody wants it. The Congress doesn't want it. Boehner's trying to get out of it. And we see that in Louisiana, for example, Blue Cross Blue Shield said that 0 people enrolled on the first day of enrollment. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana reported that not a single person enrolled in the new health care plan offered through the quote-unquote Affordable Health Care Act on its first day. Now, this is interesting because according to the paper, the company spent $60 million preparing for the October 1st rollout, but the website continued to stall on the day of the rollout. One applicant spent 5 hours and eventually gave up. Well, maybe the problem with health care is not the health care providers, but the bureaucracies of the insurance companies and the government. Looks like they're going to turn our health care service into the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.